After week 4, we had week 5. Week 5, we discussed the importance of uncovering insights during ideal client conversations. As I provided you with an email to reach out to prospects for short market research calls. I also gave you a script for the calls. And these questions help you gain insight into prospects' challenges have related to the problem you solve, their desires and vision, and how willing they are to invest in that vision, what prospects have already tried to help them solve their problem and achieve their goals, and how they feel about their challenges and their vision. And again, even thinking about and knowing these general categories will help you ask good questions in casual conversations where you'll get market research information. So, anytime you're around ideal clients and prospects, thinking about, well, what challenges are they facing and what question could I ask just casually to get information about their challenge? What are their desires and their vision? And just even in those networking conversations, you're building rapport, but you're also screening people. It's actually fairly simple with just a couple questions that feel really natural and people aren't even suspecting that you're screening them. But then when you find the right person in 5 minutes or less, you book a follow-up call with them and you can do a deeper dive into market research, or when you're ready, you can make your offer to them. And that's another flexible way you can do these market research calls. So, Jim, even when you're on vacation, you might meet a prospect. And
Yeah, no,
if
it's true. I actually did for the last few years. So we go to the same resort every year in Muskoka, and my wife's family has been going there for 30 plus years, but I've only been there for the last 17, 18. So sorry, I'm just a newbie. Um, but the last 4 or 5 years, we met this couple, and he's the head of psychology at Nipissing University, and she teaches at there as well in the education department. So she's actually been helping me with my "Your Brain Is Not Full" project and some stuff. So yes, I have actually done that. Just
and
sitting at the
see,
dock, going through stuff, right? So
and you can adapt these questions for your brain is not full business as well and go
yeah,
prepared to this vacation. You know, you're probably going to meet those people and
yeah.
just ask some of the questions. Even say, hey, I'm doing market research. Can I ask you some questions? And just bring a tiny bit of structure in, and you'll get all this information. And people love to be asked these kind of questions. It really makes them feel validated. So it's no imposition. Rather, it's actually a gift because you're deeply listening, and it's just a structured way to deeply listen.
Right.
Yeah. When I did my first, second master, one of my masters, the thesis seminar, in the thesis seminar, we talked about qualitative research and how every question is an intervention. And that has stuck with me more than anything, I think. That when I ask, because with the gift of wonder, we're always asking questions. And uh, and wonder, especially paired with invention, I'm always asking questions, looking for solutions for people. And some people, I have people in my life who are like, too many questions, stop. But but this helps me refine my questions again, because you have to, maybe actually, I think all my life I have, because Stephen Covey's book, Seven Habits, I think he talks about questions there too. All my life, every time the idea of questions has come up, it's helped me, because there are people who can't cope with too many questions, but the right questions, like you say, Sandra, make them feel validated.
Mhm.
And
Well,
mhm.
there's actually quite a good book. I've read it. I've lent it to somebody. They haven't given it back yet, so that's unfortunately I have to go and recover that book. But it's called "Questions Are the Answer," and it's
Oh,
actually a really good book as far as looking at how that can help you dig deeper into things. And I ask a lot of questions. I get in trouble for asking a lot of questions. So but my
I'm going
that
to
was
look up that book.
yeah, that was my favorite once was when I was working for the Ontario government, and someone from the Premier's office phoned me and started asking me, why would you do this? And I was like, I don't know. Like, why would I do this? Why are we gonna, like, they wanted me to do something really stupid about attacking the mayor of Toronto, um, politically. And I was like, well, I just asked loads of questions. And he stopped and he says, Jim, why is it that every time I ask you a question, you just answer with another question? And I said, I don't know. Why is that? And then I hung up. Yeah. He was trying to give me shit. I was like, screw off. Like, what are you going to
That's
do? Yeah, like,
In
that's so
North,
good.
um, are you familiar with Northrop Frye?
yes, yes.
Yeah, he in his Educated Imagination series, his Massey lectures, he one of his opening thoughts is, I think now that the simplest questions are not only the hardest to answer, but the most important to ask. So I'm going to raise them and try to suggest what my present answers are. I say try to suggest because there are only more or less adequate answers to such questions. There aren't any right answers. And then I often paraphrase that to say the best questions lead to better questions.
I like that. That's good. Thanks.
Yeah, that's very good.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to go on. So, week 6, analyzing client insights. And the reason we're doing this is because it helps you find patterns in the client interviews. So, you can use them to tailor your services to your best fit clients. So, the main reason that we're doing the market research, it's not just so we can do better marketing, which is absolutely important. And I think that's where what a lot of people use market research for. But in my entrepreneurial journey, something I've been convinced of is that people don't pay enough attention to service design.
Mhm.
And and I think that is the bigger opportunity in doing this market research is to absolutely tailor your services to what customers actually need, want, and will pay for. And so that's why the final sprint in this program I designed is around developing aligned offers. Because I think when you have offers and services so hand in glove with what people want, need, and will pay for, that marketing comes out of this really authentic place. It's not shinier marketing, it's not more compelling words that attract people in this false confectionery way. It's more like you're telling the truth about what your services actually do. You're saying it in a compelling way. You're telling great stories about the results you get, but it comes from this deeply authentic place. And what I'm seeing happening in the world of marketing is that it's becoming increasingly important for service delivery to come from that genuinely valuable, authentic place because ChatGPT and AI are making it so easy to churn out marketing that the people who are actually going to win and get clients are those who are providing deep value. So that's where we're headed.
Mm.
What I think one of the other things that, just to go over that too, is sort of like, because I was looking at that yesterday, and it was sort of to the sense of, well, uh if these were so great, you'd already have solved the problem, which isn't the case, right? Like, so for example, just take my, you know, thing about skills gaps and people and labor shortages and these people like, oh, we're the best at analyzing, job postings, and it's like, well, okay, but job postings are like a fraction of what, is actually out there. And B, if that's the case, why is youth unemployment at 25%, right? So, obviously you haven't actually solved any problem, and you just need a better process how to do it. But they take the easy process and say, well, we've already got this information. And so I look at the AI because I've been doing another project on AI for a non-for-profit organization, and it's like, well, if you use really crap data to start with, then you're going to get real crap results at the end of the day, too, right? So the fact that you're using this fraction of what's out there as far as the demand for labor and skills and talents, and then saying, oh, we've figured this out, like, well, then you've only got a fraction of the answer, not so it's just how do you break? people say, no, no, you have to change the process, right? And um, I mean, that was another, as an example, someone wrote an article yesterday about, or I, it was about AI and government procurement. And it's like, well, slapping a AI program on today's government procurement system ain't gonna work, right? Because the system is actually itself broken. It's not just using the AI. It's like you would just basically get to the result, your crappy result faster, basically. It's
Yeah.
like, great, good idea. I don't like, that's not gonna work. So anyhow.
Yeah, so I think you're hitting on the same thing, Jim, is that it's important to go deep to understand, to diagnose right at the source, right? And get to, uh, in this case, what people want, need, and will pay for, and designing something as close to those desires as possible. Were you going to add something, Colleen?
Well, yesterday I was on a sales call where they talked about the need not for more information in this market, but for something that will help people take action and get results. Uh, Implementation and integration. And so if we don't know what people want, we can give them more information. Kind of like Jim said, it's you can take crappy or incomplete or generalized information, whatever information you're giving the AI, it's gonna just regurgitate the same thing, maybe in a
Hmm.
cleaner copy, but not better copy. And I
Yeah,
was
better grammar.
I was thinking last week I have a course called Marketing Primer, and it's no Pathway, whatever. It's a very introductory course for authors, but I've noticed a lot of authors haven't got the first clue how to market a book, and so they do need a certain bottom line of information. But we've built in some homework. We've got some Asana forms for them. And it occurred to me last week, oh, we could take their answers to their homework and and then feed that into an AI, a GPT, and then um, and ask it to formulate a marketing plan based on their answers. And
Hmm.
then, but then the I think this is what we need, but I have to do some market research to make sure. Um, then the implementation is where our coaching comes in, whether it's
Right,
group, but there's that extra level of support because a lot of authors also lack tenacity.
for sure.
They don't, or galvanizing, or both, and they don't want to put themselves out there. It's a lot of energy, but it's having a tailored plan based on the answers that they got working through this program, I think would really be appealing to them.
I love it. And then, yeah, and then providing the support to implement the plan
Yeah,
rather than having them spend all the time struggling to create the plan.
exactly, exactly.
That
It's
then
like a,
they've
it's like
used
a,
up their energy and they don't have any left to implement.
Yeah. So we've only got one person who's going through it right now. It's very beta, but I feel like these conversations, I don't have to convince more people to do it beta. I just need to find out, is this actually what they want and need? And if yes, then come on in. Let's do this.
what
Mhm.
I think it's one of the things that I've actually always it's shockingly hard um when you actually look at the questions piece and you actually dig down into, maybe I ask too many questions, but it's sort of like the people don't figure out the why. Like, why do you want to market your book? Well, so like, and I learned this from um my political career, in the sense of when I was running election campaigns. And I actually, basically, the first question I asked somebody was like, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to run? Why do you want to run for office? And if you can't explain that story to people, then don't bother running. Because
Mhm.
if you can't explain that, if you think it's like fame and glory and you're gonna like try again. Um, it's like, why are you doing that? I mean, one of the greatest examples, I don't know, you might know him, Sandra, is Dave Jaworski, who's the mayor of Waterloo, right?
Oh yeah.
Dave's a very good friend of mine. And I asked him the same thing. I was like, Dave, why are you running? And he spilled it, and it was like, okay, you could be mayor forever, as far as I'm concerned. But
Because he had a good why.
yeah, because he had a really good why as to why we wanted to do this. And even after he left, I still ask him questions about stuff that's along that lines. And but it's the why you want to do this. And if you can't explain that, but the harder part of it is actually, and I go back to a comment I made earlier, which was, yes, I live in Ottawa, which is with the government of Canada, dealing with them. It's like, well, why are you doing this? Well, because I was told to. Or
Right.
why are you doing this? Because it's always been that way, and no one gets to the why. Like, it's like, well, why are you doing that? Well, I want to end homelessness. Okay, like, is that really like, or it's, and it's like, well, if you've been doing this for how many decades now, and it's still not, like, maybe we should try something else, right? I mean, it's a complex, not, I'm not saying it's an easy problem to solve, but it's also, you have to be making progress, not going backwards. So
I
uh,
found
That's
that,
not,
sorry,
I
I
was just
switched.
gonna say that Jim, I've heard you say a variation of that at other times. I think you're really passionate about helping people make progress. Just want to make that observation.
oh, thank you. Well, no, it's an impact thing, right? Like, so people
Mm.
will do, like, we'll do something because the output comes out and says, okay, yeah, we've checked off this box and we did this
Mm.
sort of stuff, but the impact is like negligible. So it's like, well, what impact did you actually have on this person? And if you can't answer that question, then try again, because that's my word, that's my phrase of the day, by the way. Sorry, try again. Because um,
What do you want? Why? Like all, well, I think why is a big question that a lot of people find difficult to grasp. And but if we can couch it in more like what do you want to see? I want to end homelessness. Okay, so what about, so being asking what helps people get more granular, or when, all those smart
yeah,
questions. um I had an author who kept saying, she did a little marketing sprint and she said her goal was to start conversations. And she did it in spades for the week that she did her little sprint. But at the end she went, but I didn't sell any books. And we're like, well, that wasn't your goal.
Mm.
yeah.
But you accomplished your goal, but apparently that wasn't the one you really wanted. It
Well,
was.
Mm.
that's the thing. But see, so in some cases, and this goes to my piece of like thinking bigger, is that their accomplishment, if they say yes, starting conversations is their goal, right? And it's like, well, no, actually, you have to dig deeper and really figure out what it is that you want to do, and then
Yeah.
go from there. Because sometimes it's just like, well, I want to get this done because this is due this day, and bureaucracy is here is like, that's all about. It's about checking off boxes and getting forms filled in, right?
Yeah.
And then getting them approved by the 800 levels of approvals you need, and then you're done.
Yeah.
You've accomplished your thing. And it's like, well, no, you haven't. You've done jack shit actually, but
Yeah.
so
And I think that's important because conversations are a vehicle
yeah.
to what you really want to do. And so I love what you guys are saying. It's a good segue to talk about our assignment. Um, because the ChatGPT prompts I'm going to give you do help you dive into what clients actually want, and you're going to ask questions about that. So can you access the assignment? Because I'm going to go through it step by step.
Is this
And
the week
The,
5 assignment? No.
the Google Docs link. It's in the chat, Jim.
oh, I just drew it in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry. This is the right one? Oh,
Assignment
no.
six.
Oh, I have not seen this one. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I just added it last night, yesterday afternoon.
The
Okay.
course unfolds.
The course unfolds. Okay, so step one is so you're going to find I am providing a mix of organic and analytical, like creative and analytical activities, partly because that's the kind of person I am. I'm half creative, half organized. But also because I find real value in bringing the two ways of thinking together. And I feel like in my own communication strategy, my own content marketing and writing, that's what brings my writing to life. It makes me a good proposal writer because I bring the facts and the feelings together in a way that is compelling. So I'm providing you with things that I use, tools I use to do that. So step one is to read the interviews once you've gathered them. So your notes, your transcripts, whatever you have. And I recommend doing it all in one sitting. So you get them all into one folder, take a cup of your favorite beverage, get comfortable so you can read the interviews in one sitting. So you can either do this by printing them out, if that's helpful, or reading them digitally, whatever. You can also approach them as a listener if you have recorded them. On the first reading, don't try to analyze the interviews. Approach them as a listener, as an observer, and as I mentioned, you're engaging the creative side of your brain. You're feeding it the whole story so it can make sense of the bits. You're giving it the context. That's what you're doing here. And as you can either read them digitally, print them out, or listen to them. Step two, this is something I have gotten from one of my favorite authors, Cal Newport, in his wonderful book, Deep Work. He talks about a practice called productive meditation. And so the next step is to meditate on the interviews. This is where you take a break from the interviews and you do something mindless or physical, such as housework, going for a walk, cooking dinner. This gives your brain time to brew on the interviews and make connections. I'm sure we've all had an experience where we're deep into a problem or a situation, we take a break from it, and either we wake up from a nap or we finish a walk, and all of a sudden the ideas are popping. Have you had that experience?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this is just leaning into that. And again, being a little bit intentional about productive meditation. And it is surprisingly effective. And all you're doing is working with how your brain works. The next step is determining themes. This is where we're going to start to engage the analytical side of your brain. You're going to reread the transcript, and this time you're going to highlight words and phrases that stand out to you. You're going to make your own notes beside the phrases. If you want to get fancy, start to color code the phrases or name them by theme, however your brain works, and you can start to bring the analysis in. Step four is summarizing the themes. Summarize what you learned from the interviews under the themes that emerged. Some categories you might want to include are the challenges, the client's vision, their frustrations, their desires, solutions attempted, motivation to invest in the vision. So you're going to be picking out things that they say about all of these things. Again, you are trying to tap into those authentic needs, desires, and vision so that you can understand the problem that you care about from your client's perspective. And it's going to take you some places that you don't expect. It's almost like the difference between a young child's drawing of something. You know how they do a representative of like a face or a tree
Mhm.
or something that's really typical, right? You got your smile, you got your eyes, you got your nose. And that's a generalized picture and it's accurate in that yes, it's a face.
The
But
components. Right?
the components, but this is a process that takes you into the depth of how your clients understand their problem, their challenges, their vision. So it's going to bring the nuance to make it really specific. And this is what's going to elevate the way you design your services and the way your marketing comes out, because it comes from this place of deep compassion and understanding for your clients. So I encourage you to go. It's Colleen, you've probably experienced this. Have you written fiction?
Dabbled in it. I,
Dabbled. Okay. It's almost like sitting with a character and
yeah,
or sitting with a friend. You are sitting with your clients and their problems in this deep, observant, reflective way that gives you compassion for them. And out of that compassion, that deeper compassion for them, then you're developing the solution that when they see it, they're like, have tears of joy in their eyes. Like, how did you know that
yeah,
this is what I needed and
yeah,
wanted?
yeah,
How did you know? You know, they're
yeah,
going to have that kind of feeling about it.
for sure. It's like editing. I just edited a fiction manuscript and well, not edit, I did an assessment and I told her the plot is not clear at the beginning. That in the beginning it feels like you're giving me character sketches and then the plot does emerge later, but I could see I had a bird's eye view, whereas the author was just it was all she could do to finish the manuscript and get something to me. And so yeah, there's this perspective that we can get. And so I think this is where these questions come in. People don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they need to know. And sometimes they'll find out by giving us an answer, and sometimes we'll find out what they need, even, and we can give them the answer. But we need this. We all need this process, because I couldn't have told her that until I read her manuscript.
Right. And when we get into the final sprint, it really brings also, Jim, the first sprint we went through was understanding your own superpowers
Hmm.
and how you approach things. So this is where you're bringing together this market research and this deep compassion for the client. And
Yeah,
then you unleash your superpowers and your absolute strengths into developing this solution and the services that is both aligned with who you are, how you do your magic, and what the client needs. It's this like really powerful intersection between those things.
yeah.
Okay, and then the last step, step five, is something I recommend. Again, we've gone from a couple steps of analysis. Now we're going back to the creative side of the brain. And I stole this practice from Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. Do you know that book, Colleen?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured you'd be familiar with it. So she talks about pages, morning pages. Her practice is to help people get out of their own way. You just sit there in the morning and you free write about whatever comes to your mind. So this is kind of a variation of that practice. Free writing. So I use it to surface what I didn't know I knew, or when I don't know if you ever get that feeling where you're like, ah, there's something here, but I don't know how to define it. I don't know how to put it into words. And it's this hunch, this inkling, and I find that free writing brings clarity around those kind of things. And the rules of free writing are to type or handwrite about your topic without stopping to analyze or correct it. That again, you're telling the analytical side, your brain, go on vacation for a little while. We've got some other type of work to do. I don't need you for this exercise. So, in the previous four steps, you generously fed your brain with information about your ideal clients. Now it's time to see what you've digested and magically synthesized. So close your door, turn off any distractions as you sit down for 10 minutes or so of free writing. Set a timer and don't do anything except write or look out the window. No checking your phone or email or anything else. And so if you want some prompts to help you write about your ideal clients, you can think about a specific prospect that you interviewed or a client you've served in the past and write their name down and think about their pain or their challenges that they've experienced related to your service. Use emotional language to tap into the depth of their feelings about the challenges. And what does the person long to achieve relating to your services? Write about their desires and why this is so important to them. And then the last one, write about how you and your services could help them achieve their goals. How would they feel? What difference would it make in their lives? How would you feel if it helped them? So you don't have to answer every one of these questions step by step. Just kind of use them as a prompt if you're getting stuck. The goal is just to write from that emotional, creative side of your brain about your client, your ideal client, and what they want, what they need, and their vision for where they want to go with the services that you provide. And you can repeat this free writing exercise for as many of your best fit clients as you want to. This exercise will prime you to deeply empathize with your prospects and understand their perspective as you shape your services about what they actually want, need, and will pay for. Any questions or comments about those 5 ways to analyze the interviews once you've done them? Okay, and then to take your analysis to the next level, I recommend working with an AI platform such as ChatGPT. And I have given you 2 prompts that you can use to go even deeper as you seek to understand your best fit clients. That is also in the overview, but I will throw that in the chat. Okay, so these prompts will get the AI to ask you follow-up questions and then dig into your responses to help you extend your thinking. So essentially, you're kind of having a conversation with the AI. You have
Okay.
already, you've primed your brain with this deep knowledge about your clients with these 5 exercises analyzing the interviews. And now the first prompt is going to get the AI to ask you about specific people or a specific person. So it's important not to talk about your clients in aggregate for this exercise. I want you to think of specific people and you're going to put in their name, or if you're uncomfortable with their actual name, put in their initials or some false name that you know represents a person. Okay, and then you say, I want to better understand Peter. Peter's my ideal client, someone I know personally who represents the type of people I want to serve. Ask me the following questions. After each answer, point out insights about what motivates Peter. If they could live their ideal future, what would it look like? So, this is where you are talking about their ideal future as it relates to the service you provide and the vision that they want to accomplish. So, if we're calling, it might be talking about, Susan. She wants to write a fiction book and she wants to write a series of fiction books. And when she gets those out, they're going to be for young adults. And it is going to reach hundreds of thousands of young adults. And it's going to transform the way they think about XYZ, that kind of thing. Oh, unmute.
I think she really does want that. I
Yeah,
have a
you do have a Susan. Okay, perfect. And then you're getting it to ask you about the impact they want to have, what they value most in life and work, what they believe they need to succeed, what makes them feel like they're winning, what frustrates them and weighs on their minds, what do they struggle with every day, what holds them back mentally and emotionally. And again, because you've done the other 5 steps and you've developed this empathy for your clients and you've gone deep on what you know about them, you're going to be able to answer these questions based on what you actually know or your best guess. And then ChatGPT or your chosen platform is going to give you insights about your responses and about your best fit clients. All right. And then the next step, after you've done this with a series of best fit clients, you're going to feed ChatGPT the responses it gave you and your responses. You'll copy and paste all of that, and you'll do it for 3 or 4 or 5 people. And then you're going to ask it to take the role of an expert marketing consultant, advising the service provider on verifying their ideal clients. You're going to ask it to review the information about the ideal clients and point out patterns. What are the similarities between these 3 people? What are the differences? You can have a further conversation about it as you discover things. And again, this is going to give you really great insights when you go to develop your offer. Because yes, you're thinking about specific people, but ChatGPT is going to help you spot the patterns so that as you develop your services and later your marketing, it's going to be about specific people and have that rich detail that's specific to people, but not so idiosyncratic that you're not applying to a group of people. Any thoughts, questions?
I have a question about the first prompt.
Yeah.
Why do we need ChatGPT to feed us those questions?
So that it can work with your answers.
Oh, I see.
It feeds you the questions and then you answer them one by one, and then it analyzes your responses.
Oh, you're not just answering the questions and then copy and pasting them. I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah, and you can even ask it, don't do the analysis until I've answered all the questions, or you can get analysis after each question.
Oh, I see. So they're okay. I missed the part about after each
Okay,
question insights. So they're pointing out insights, but then you take it deeper after you've had this back and forth about uh, their hopes and dreams and motivations, etc. And then, right, okay, I
yeah,
see.
that's a signal that I can make the description clearer. So after each of my answers,
Oh, okay.
because you were answering them, so you put all of these questions into ChatGPT, and then it's going to ask you them. And then you type a response and it provides analysis. You type a response, it provides analysis.
Yeah. Yeah. That's more of a signal for me probably than for the GPT conversation, just to that because I can answer these questions for without the GPT, but I don't.
Yeah, and you could do it, you could answer them first and then just load it all up into ChatGPT if you prefer.
Right. Okay.
That's another way to do it.
But that's the key that unlocks the insights part is the key that unlocks the conversation.
Right. Like, so you have the deep customer knowledge that
Yeah.
ChatGPT of actual people that ChatGPT does not. And this what elevates your marketing above other people who are just asking ChatGPT general questions about these types of people. You actually have specific knowledge.
So are we gonna repeat this then for like a number of clients or just for one or two?
Yep. Yeah, use it for a few of your best fit clients,
Right.
3 to 5. And then prompt to, that's when you upload everything you answered and ChatGPT analyzed for 3 people or however many you want. Put it back in and then ask it to find the commonalities.
This feels like it's gonna be fun.
It is really fun. I did it and yeah, it was great.
Well, just the back and forth of it, right? And sort of like because it actually comes up with insights that are either insights or refinements. Like so sometimes the refinements sort of say, okay, and then you could actually, I don't know, I don't want to say like look at the ideas that it comes up with and says, um, oh, I can use that in speaking with this person, right? Or in
Totally.
writing an email to them or putting together some sort of marketing piece that says, right? So It's not actually writing it for you, but it's giving the insight or a prompt. It's giving you a prompt after you've already prompted it. Like it's a constant back open that actually will say, let's see if I can twig on to narrow down what they're really looking for, right?
Exactly. And the beauty of this is now you're training your GPT also to know your ideal client. So we can go back to this in the
Mm,
offer sprint and say, I'm developing something for my ideal client, and you put their names in, and it'll reference that other material. And then you say, please help me develop my offer XYZ, and I'll give you those prompts as well. And it's going to provide you really great foundation of your offer. And again, you're going to have conversation back and forth with it.
mm.
But what makes it different from the generic stuff people are pumping out is it's based on your real conversations with people.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's really powerful to use the two together.
Using the two together. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say if you just did this by yourself, that might be kind of weird. But I think if you do the two together, um, would actually help because it's actually giving you sort of, as I said before, writing almost like prompts for you to prompt the human person to ask them about, do you to find out what their true motivation is, right? So to take Colleen's example about the woman who wanted to sell more books, right? I mean, we to a point we did sort of something like that when I was in library school when it was like the reference interview. It's like, what are they looking for? Like, I'm looking for a book on dogs. Okay, well, what do you want to know about dogs? Or what
Yeah.
kind of dog do you want to look for? I'm looking for a book on, so I,
Exactly.
I had a friend of mine who worked in the Toronto Public Library and who always used I never worked in a public library, so for me it was just sort of funny, but he'd always come back from shifts and have like the crazy questions people would ask him, and one of them was someone was looking for a book about Elvis for kids, and I was like, ooh, it's interesting, a book about Elvis but for children. So I was actually going to create a Elvis pop-up book. I think that would be really good. Pop-up Elvis book, right? Yeah.
I have
Actually, you know what? That would be good market research for Colleen. What her authors should write is librarians' questions of what they get book requested for.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
oh my goodness.
Jim
You,
probably could hook you up with a few librarians who could
Oh, I
give
know loads of
you.
librarians.
oh yes. Oh,
We
that's
were
good.
we were actually laughing about library the other day. Sorry, so I was in Indigo and we were looking at a cookbook, and one of the cookbooks there was written by Mary Berg, the woman who's on CTV right now, red-haired woman who's done a lot of cooking shows, and she was in one of my classes or a couple of my classes. She has a master in library science from U of T as well. But she graduated the same year as I did, but she was a full-time student. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that she was in my reference course that I took was actually taught by a woman whose PhD was about leisure reading and cookbooks.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Mary Berg was in that class, and I was just laughing. So I felt like I saw that. It prompted me to remember that. So anyhow, sorry.
I have a book that I can't remember what it's called, but I bought it in Ottawa, and just a collection of crazy things people say in bookstores, which I'm sure
Okay.
are similar in libraries, but like, oh my goodness. When I was in the bookstore, we had this, I was working in a university, and we had this cleaning lady who would clean the professors' offices. And
Okay.
and she would see books that interested her, and she would come to the bookstore looking for them. But she wasn't academic, but she was
Ah, okay. Yep.
kind of interested. So she'd come in and she'd be like, I'm looking for a book on education. It's blue. Do you have it?
Oh yeah, hugely. People would do that.
Yeah, we do have some blue books about education. I don't know if
Yeah.
we have. Yeah.
Well,
That's so
actually, just
funny.
just to go back and just to go back to your question earlier about electronic books versus paper. A lot of the reasons I have the ones in paper is actually Um, because the ones that I are interested in are really specialized and out of print, or so I have to go find them in bookstores because you can't get them electronically. It's like, yeah, and they're not going to give them to you electronically because they were probably done on a typewriter somewhere, typeset, and there is no digital copy of it. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Okay, so we have reached the end of Client Clarity Sprint, and
perfect.
then Jim, you said you're going on holidays. I'm gonna turn off the